Okay, now that we've gone over creating a character, why don't we take a look at the first bit, which is the main page. We open Flippin-de-Doo-Dah. This should look familiar to everybody. And let's go ahead and make him a little bit bigger so we can see. And let's talk first about the main page. On every character, there's going to be a main, additional, and configuration, and for anybody that can cast spells, you'll see a separate page for spells. So on the main page, starting at the top left, you have conditions and buffs. When you click on it, it opens up the buffs and condition stuff. If for some reason we ever tell you you're blind, all you have to do is select blinded. And then, I don't know if you see here, but it changes your AC. Because when you're blind, your AC goes down. And also, anything that's affected is usually in red. So notice that your CMD also went down. All the buffs, for instance, let's say you have a bless buff, function like this. First, you name the buff, and then you say what it does. And I believe that bless is +1 morale bonus to attack. So if you do +1, the type of bonus, morale, to attack. You can even put ATK or attacks, but I typically like to do it like this. So when we do that, I don't know if you can see here, but now there's a little lightning bolt next to what is being affected, and our flurry of blows went from +4, or +3 to +4 every time we check and uncheck the buff. So there you go. Even it tells you where your temporary buffs are right there. Those mostly come from buffs. Now, let's say we had something called Extra Bless. And I'll show you the reason why we put morale there. Let's say Extra Bless gave us a +2 morale bonus. Because those bonuses don't stack, if we built it correctly, it will add the +2, but if we click Bless, it should not add +1 because they are both morale bonuses. See how nothing changes? Similarly, if we take off Extra Bless, it goes back to being just 1. So that's the reason why we build buffs like that. And if you ever have questions about how to build a buff, there are lots and lots and lots of Googleable things. Otherwise, you can always say, Elliot, help, and we'll help. Anyway, onward. We are going to talk about the stats next. Stats are pretty easy to understand. We build them on character creation. And then the more important element is if we ever ask for a strength check or some other stat-based check, all you have to do is hover over your strength and click it. And hey, look at that. It rolls 1 die 20 plus whatever your strength modifier is. In this case, it's 4. So rolled a 13 plus 4 equals 17. Ta-da! Also, anything with a gear icon that that allows you to put specifically things in the notes. Let's say you had some kind of strength bonus against boxes. Then you could always put that here, like +2 against boxes. So that when you do roll your strength check, it'll make a note of it here. So that your strength check is normally, it would have been an 11, but if it was against a box, this will tell us +2 against boxes. So some things you put in buffs, some things you put in notes. And if you ever have a question about that, once again, just say, Elliot, help! In any case, here's your hit points, current and max. If we were ever rolling for hit points, that's where you would roll it. Initiative, the other important thing about initiative is to make sure to select your token, if that were the token for Flippin-de-Doo-Dah, before you click initiative to make sure you go on the turn tracker. Additionally, here's AC, touch AC, and flat-footed AC. Even though there is a gear icon here, usually you don't want to add any of your bonuses here. There's a separate page that we'll go over in a different video about that. Right below AC, we have your fort, reflex, and will saves. Those you can certainly add notes on because sometimes you just get +2 bonuses on enchantment spells. So for that, depending on the enchantment spell, it may call for a fort or a will save. So you could always put in the notes, there you go. There's a note already in there, +2 racial saving throw against enchantment spells and effects, because Flippin-de-Doodah is a half-elf, and that's a bonus that he normally gets. So if we were to roll our fort save, it automatically says that upon character creation. Isn't that special? Um, Underneath all of that, we have BAB, combat maneuver bonus, where again, you could add all of your notes in there. For instance, if you took improved grapple or improved disarm or improved anything, you could write those in the notes so that it wouldn't have to be a buff you click on and off. It's just hand calculated for when we roll that. And that's generally the whole idea is to make things as easy as possible, so all you should have to do is click a button and then the math gets done for you. Underneath all of these things, we have probably the most important thing for martial characters. Even though martial characters don't have spells, they may have a bunch of different weapons or a bunch of different feats or spells that they're affected by that may change their weapon damage. And rather than changing it within the attack itself, you might just be able to make a series of different attacks. I think that we did that for our druid, who assumes different forms, and that gives him different attacks. And when he's a different size, he's affected by a whole bunch of different things, and probably we can do a whole video just on that. In any case, if you're ever curious what your speed is, you can always look here. Most everybody has a base speed of 30. And then the run speed, that means it's your land speed times 4. That gives us 120 feet. And then usually climb and swim is a quarter of your speed. So rounded down, I believe. So that would bring it to 5 feet. So as a move action, you could swim or climb 5 feet, assuming you made the check. And that brings us to the skills. Going back to climb, to even begin climbing, you have to clear a difficulty class of climbing. It could be anywhere between 5 or 10 or 15. At least that's what it usually is. So once you succeed at the check, that means that you are allowed to climb at 5 feet. The only thing that makes your climb speed different is if you actually have a climb speed. Higher levels give you access to fly magic, or if you happen to have wings or something like that, then that's where you would enter your fly speed there. Anyway, going back to skills, the only thing you'll ever have to deal with skills is ranks. Because ideally, if you're building your buffs correctly, those will be automatically added to any skills. Something else I like to put in the buffs is your gear. Let's say, for instance, you had a belt of dexterity +2. That adds a +2 enhancement bonus to your dexterity, or dex. So if we look, our dexterity currently is 16, but when we equip the belt, it will now go up to 18. And similarly, if we ever get an enhancement bonus, we can add it in here, such as Cat's Grace. Pardon me. And Cat's Grace is a +4 bonus, enhancement bonus specifically, to Dex. And since they are the same type of bonus, right now our belt brings us up to 18. If we tap on Cat's Grace, it won't add +4, it'll just add another +2, because the bonuses do not stack. Going back to skills, though, you're only ever going to need to put ranks in as you level up. You can only have as many ranks as your level is. So here we are level 1, so that means we can only put in up to one rank in each skill. And then down at the bottom here, it tells you how many available ranks you can put in. And that's pretty much it for that page. So we're going to move on to the next one, which is the additional tab in a different video.